Hello, everybody, and welcome to Until the End of Time. My name is Werner, and today we're gonna have a little something special. We're gonna have a mystic-focused episode. So I did a straw poll on the last video for which investigator I should be playing next. At the time I checked, it was Jacqueline. I believe at this point Preston has caught up, but that just means we're gonna use Preston for a later video. So Jacqueline, the new mystic from the Investigator starter deck, is going to be one of the investigators I'm going to be playing today. The other investigator is going to be Dexter Drake, who was just released with the book outside of the US. In the US, thanks to COVID, it is delayed. Now the reason I'm playing Dexter is there's somebody in the Arkham or in the Mythosbusters Discord server who mentioned that they were unable to play Arkham at the moment because their computer was broken. And they couldn't obviously go out and play with friends because of the quarantine. So they very politely asked me if I could play Dexter, and I said, of course I can. So we're playing Dexter Drake and Jacqueline Fine. Let's do some mystic, let's have some magic happen. I want to talk about these decks real quick. So we've got Dexter, if you haven't seen him before, he's the Magician. 5 willpower, 2 intellect, 3 combat, 2 agility. He's a sorcerer and veteran traded. And his ability reads, fast action during your turn. Discard an asset you control. Play an asset with a different title from your hand, reducing its cost by 1. Limit once per round. And then a Elder Sign effect, +2, you may return an asset from your play area to your hand, then draw 1 card. And he's got 6 health and 8 sanity, though he does have 2 mental trauma from the Arcane research. So Dexter's all about assets, but especially about swapping assets in and out. It's magic, obviously, it's supposed to be, he makes one thing disappear and turns it into something else. So he seems pretty interesting. What I've done here is I've gone, actually let me talk about that in a moment. Let's talk about first about what Jacqueline's ability is. So Jacqueline is 5 willpower, 3 intellect, 2 combat, 2 agility. She's clairvoyant traded, and she has a reaction. When an investigator at your location would reveal any number of chaos tokens, reveal 2 additional chaos tokens. Of the revealed tokens, choose and cancel 2 non-autofill tokens or 1 autofill token. Limit once per round. And then the Elder Sign effect is +1. If this effect is cancelled or ignored, draw 1 card. So if you don't pick the Elder Sign, you get rewarded for it. The future can be rewritten. Well, stumbling. 6 health, 9 sanity. So these are both mystics, and yet I've gone out of my way to make 2 very different mystic decks. Dexter's deck is going to be kind of the classic mystic. So we've got your rosaries. We've got the, Clairvoyance and Rite of Seeking, which are basically the same thing. They both are 4-cost assets that have 3 uses that let you investigate for 2 clues. And this is just basically if you've played Agnes, if you've played Akachi, you've probably played this kind of deck, which is you have these powerful clue-getting spells. You've got some, you've got Shriveling, you've got Azure Flame. Dexter Drake is a very asset-heavy investigator, so I think I'm playing 19 assets, which is a lot. So that's kind of how I'm building. Dexter is the kind of classic mystic, but for Jacqueline, what I'm doing is slightly different because I've gone with cards like Olive McBride, which let me reveal more tokens. And of course, the linchpin of those kind of decks is usually the card, where did I put it? 6 Sense. Hello. There's 6 Sense in here. Oh, they're both at the bottom of the deck. 6 Sense, which lets us investigate. And if you haven't used this one before, it doesn't exhaust. It doesn't use any kind of charges. Just infinite investigate using willpower instead of intellect. And if you reveal special tokens, you can look at a different location instead of the one you're currently at. And this is a very powerful deck in someone like Jim. Mateo often also plays this like multiple token reveal decks. And I kind of wanted to take this video to kind of showcase 2 very different mystic builds, with one designed around just like good, awesome spells and lots of assets, and one designed around revealing lots of tokens. Now there's one more thing I should mention before I continue. Obviously we have Dexter Drake's, at least his signatures and replacement signatures. We do not have Jacqueline Fine's signatures. Specifically, we don't know what Dark Future does. Her weakness. We do have Arbiter of Fates. It's in one of the images. It wasn't perfectly visible, so I've recreated this image. This is not the official art, but I believe this is how the card should read. It is 3-cost asset, her deck only. It's a talent. It has a reaction when you use her ability. You exhaust this, and then you get to use her reaction again. So you can use her reveal extra tokens ability twice per round instead of once per round. But because we don't know her signature weakness yet, I have elected to bring a second basic weakness, and my basic weakness, I believe, are Doomed and Overzealous. So let's just say that I haven't picked the easiest one. So yeah, let's start playing and let's see what these two can do. I want to point out I'm playing the Witching Hour, which is the first scenario from Circle Undone, because it felt appropriate for the Mystic classes. But I've skipped the intro scenario, the little prologue, so I don't believe that actually matters for this first scenario, but you didn't miss anything there. And I've also decided to accept my fate. So we have added the Ace of Rods and Tower to Dexter's deck. And so we are going to be playing the Witching Hour. I believe the only thing that's been different, important if you bought Circle Undone, there's a big chance that your campaign guide will tell you to put 4 locations into play. You're actually supposed to put in 5. This is because there was a miscounting, I'm guessing, when playtesting. They didn't quite realize that with only 4 locations, it is possible for solo players to become locked out. So the way this works is we're going to put 5 locations, 3 in front of the lead investigator and 2 in front of the second investigator. I guess we're just going to have to move Jacqueline out of the way a bit. And these are going to be our locations. Now, if you've never played this scenario before, the idea is that we are lost and separated, and we're going to have to find our way to join up. So let's actually just get to reading some story text, shall we? Intro 1. It is a breezy November evening in Arkham, the perfect night for a walk through Independence Square, or so you had thought, up until the moment Anna Kozlo offered to tell your fortune. You agreed, though you would soon come to regret this decision. For each of the cards the Romanian soothsayer draws from your deck, she weaves a tale of despair and misfortune, judgment, temperance, justice, the hermit, the hanged man, the hierophant, the lovers, the chariot, the wheel of fortune. To complete her tale, Anna draws the top card and lays it in the center of the formation. Dominating the old, worn card is the ominous image of a towering construct of black onyx. A hellish storm rages over the tower, lightning courses through the dark clouds. It reads, The Tower, 16. Even if the rest of the reading had gone swimmingly, the center card would have sent a shiver down your spine. As it stands now, it feels more like the closing of a casket over your body. You did tell me to give it to you straight, the soothsayer says. She sits cross-legged in front of you, wearing a stony, grim expression. From her unwavering gaze and her cold eyes, you can tell Anna derives no satisfaction from this reading. Simple misfortune is the least of your concerns, she explains. This is a matter of life and death. She motions to the cards surrounding the tower, each of them laid in reverse position, and stares at them intently. Arrayed against you is everything that you cannot see. You alone stand in their way, she says enigmatically. We can now choose to avoid our fate or call BS. We will try to avoid or accept our fate. The woman nods and draws the top card of the deck with a steady hand, revealing it to you without looking at it herself. Depicted on the card is a single wood wand, surrounded by a pattern of broken stained glass. It reads, Ace of Rods. You must be ready to act, she advises, without hesitation, without regret. When the opportunity arises, you must set into motion the event that will change this fate. Then we have to do some stuff, but I've already done that. Skip to intro 4. Silence hangs in the air as you peer into the tower card. The world around you dissolves into emptiness as your eyes fixate on the onyx tower. Rolling thunder echoes in the distance. Do you understand now? Anna asks. There's no other sign of the soothsayer, only her strained voice. A bolt of lightning streaks across the sky. Do you see your fate before you as I do? Another resounding crack of thunder, and you are suddenly awake. Icy rain pelts your body, soaking you through to the bone. You are lying in the mud beside a wooded trail, and there is no other soul in sight. So we are separated right now, as per the agenda card, or actually it's on the act card. Temperance. I believe that would be 14. Remain calm and you may peer into an uncertain future. The balance of the universe has tilted. You are the fulcrum. Be patient, and all will be revealed. Lost in the Woods, Act 1A. You have awakened alone, deep in the woods south of Arkham. The mysterious soothsayer is nowhere to be seen. You rise up from the muddy trail and try to find your bearings. An oppressive weight hangs in the air. Locations in front of you are connected to one another, but you cannot enter locations in front of other investigators. At the end of the round, we may spend 4 clues to advance. Well, so we're gonna have to find each other. Let's draw some opening hands, shall we? No story text. Okay, so in case you hadn't heard this yet, Dexter's off class is Rogue. So he just is straight up Mystic 0 to 5, Rogues 0 to 2. Let's see. Well, we've got... So Lone Wolf is going to be pretty good in this scenario because we can use... because we're separated, so we're going to be getting lots of resources because when our turn begins, if we have nobody else there, we get a resource. So I like that. I like Clairvoyance. In case you hadn't picked up that, this is a new spell. It's coming out in Jacqueline's deck. And it is essentially another Rite of Seeking. Only this one has a effect on an Elder Sign +1 or 0 token, in which case you take 1 horror. So I think this is all pretty good. I'm going to mulligan one of the Watch Thises and the Deny Existence because I want to draw some other stuff. And I also think I don't need to watch this. I'm gonna have to figure out some way to trigger that without spending all my money in Clairvoyance, which is a bit tricky. Okay, 2 more cards. We have a Arcane Initiate, which is pretty decent with the 8 Doom. Plus we can always use Dexter's ability, which makes us discard an asset to play something else, to get rid of the Arcane Initiate if we need to. So that's pretty nice. We did draw our Deny Existence back, but that's no problem. For Jacqueline, let's redraw that. Okay. Well, we don't need 2 Sixth Senses, since we only need the 1. We've got the Scrying Mirror, which is a, if you haven't seen it, it's kind of like a Premonition, but on an asset. The big difference here is that Premonition you can play outside of a skill test if you want to go like, okay, what action should I take next? Scrying Mirror only really helps if you are starting the skill test. So it's still pretty decent. I don't think it's super good, but I definitely want to play with it. That's why I'm bringing it. Got a Water Protection. Nah. I'm going to turn to the Flame. That might be good. We've got some locations. Presumably they'll have clues. But no, we're just going to redraw 3. That's the other weakness. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's good. Let's talk about what we draw. We drew a Premonition, which lets us, obviously, if you haven't played with it, I guess, not that obvious, lets us pull out a token, and then we know what token we're going to draw. We have the Crystal Pendulum, which is another kind of Rosary. So it's a 2 cost that gives assets in the accessory slot that gives us +1 willpower, just like Rosary. Now it doesn't have any Horror Soak, which the Rosary does have, but it does give you card draw if you can name which token or which number you're going to pass or fail the test by. Which, given that we have only 2 cards in our hand that let us reveal chaos tokens before we take the test, I have no idea how we'll ever manage that. We've also found our signature card, Arbiter of Fates, and that's pretty awesome because it's a good card. I'll have to see about getting it into play at some point. Right now, unfortunately, my economy isn't good enough. I'm gonna want to play the Pendulum and the Sixth Sense first. So yeah, let's flip our locations. Witch Haunted Woods, Child's Treehouse. 1 Shroud, 4 clues. Forced effect: when the last clue is discovered from this location, spawn the topmost enemy in the encounter discard pile at this location. If there are no enemies, we have to discard cards until we find one and then spawn that instead. Okay, this is a pretty good one. It's only 1 Shroud, and it's, I mean, 4 clues is a lot, but we can probably manage that, and we'll be able to find maybe a spell that lets us fight. Jacqueline, ooh. Yeah, so this is 4 Shroud, 4 clues, but after any number of clues are found here, everybody here has to discard that many cards at random. So this is pretty brutal. We're probably going to try to avoid investigating there. Yeah, I think we'll let Dexter go first. First action, Arcane Initiate. Let's use the Arcane Initiate. Oh, sorry, my rotations are still set to 9 degrees or to 15 degrees. So drawing 3. Okay, so here we can see our weakness, which is Yastaroth? Sounds about right. Which is a curse that makes us unable to put assets into play, but we can clear it for a double action. As for Arcane Initiate, we can only find spell cards. We did find one. We found the Spectral Razor, which lets us fight with combat plus willpower, and do +2 damage on non-elite enemies, which is pretty sweet. Okay, second action, we're just going to play Lone Wolf. And last action, I think we're just grabbing a resource, because we don't really want to draw last action, but we don't have that much else going on. I guess 1 versus 2. How badly do I want to get this glue? I don't. I'll just get a resource. We have, that's the one thing I think Dexter is going to have a problem with. Card draw and resources. You get a discount for 1, but I think in order to routinely use this ability, you are going to want to draw enough cards, make sure you have enough economy in your deck. Okay, so Jacqueline, I think I'm going to check out the other location I can go to. So reminder, I can't go to these locations, but first action is going to be move. Let's see what else we got. The Lonely Tree. We cannot activate investigate this location while we have between 3 and 5 cards in hand. And we can discard a card from our hand to make an investigator at a different Witch Haunted Woods draw a card, or vice versa. So we can spend this to also have Drake discard a card and get a card ourselves. I don't think we necessarily want to, because I think we can get to low hand size. So we're going to spend our second action to play 6 Sense. And I'm tempted to investigate with the 6 Sense already, because we can activate her ability. We haven't done that yet. So yeah, we're just going to do that. So we're going to investigate with 6 Sense. It's basically a normal investigation. We just use our willpower, which is 5. But if we reveal a special token, something awesome might happen. Okay, and we're going to be using Jacqueline's ability. So we reveal 3 tokens, and we can either cancel the autofill or 2 non-autofill tokens. Okay, so right now, I mean, the skill are -1. For each point you fill by with the discarded point from the encounter deck, well, we're not going to be failing because the Shroud's only 2. I also realized I totally cheated because I can't investigate here. That's what you get when you start playing before you think. So I will instead spend my last action to play the Pendulum. My bad. Alright, let's go to upkeep. Ready, everything. Draw a card, gain a resource, draw a card, gain a resource. And we go to the Mythos phase. We have 8 Doom. There's already Doom in play because of the Arcane Initiate, but we're fine so far. Bedeviled. Put into player threat area. I cannot trigger action abilities on cards I control. It does willpower 3 to discard it. If there's an exhaust of which enemy, we can automatically succeed instead. This is annoying because Clairvoyance is an action ability, so... Okay. Racked. Okay. We get -1 to each of our skills during the first skill test we perform each round, and then we have the same willpower 3 if there's a witch, we can discard it. This one's less bad, I think. Yeah, we're not going to cancel this with Ward. In this case, I think I'm gonna let Jacqueline go first. I'm going to first up, actually, before anybody takes their turn, I'm going to play Permission. Revealing the autofill. Ooh. That's not great. Gonna have to think about what I do with that. Because I could obviously use Jacqueline's ability to cancel this, but then I'd have to grab whatever other 2 tokens I find. And given that I also get a -1, that's maybe not great. How bold am I? Pretty bold. Okay, so we're gonna let Jacqueline go first. And for our first action, we're going to try to clear Racked, and we're just going to fail, right? Because we draw an autofail. I guess, hold on, wait, does that work? It does. So I guess we just name -3, or rename 3, because after we start a skill test, we can name a number. If we fail by that number, we draw a card. It's going to be difficult to treat test, so we're just going to name 3 and draw a card. Pretty decent. Oh, it's another 6 Sense. Then we're going to try to clear Racked again, this time hopefully a bit more successfully. We're at willpower 6, and we're going to commit this Ward of Protection. I think, yeah. We want to get rid of cards in our hand so we can actually investigate. There's a skull. That's perfectly fine. Get that out of there. And then we're going to use the fast ability on this card, on the Lonely Tree, to discard or surplus 6 Sense to make Dexter draw a card. He draws the Ace of Rods. which gives us an extra action with +2 to each of our skills. We got this because we accepted our fates. Not the greatest card, though. Dexter is less bad because we can at least use his ability to put it into play actionlessly and for 2 resources, which is pretty decent. Okay, so now for our last action, we are going to investigate, this time legally, because we no longer have between 3 and 5 cards in our hands. And we got to reveal 3 tokens, so... That's disappointing. Okay, so we're going to cancel the autofill token, which lets us pick +1. Her other sign only does something if it is cancelled or ignored, which we can't do. Well, we could do that, but then we have to take the autofill, which is not what we want to do. So yeah, we end up with a combined modifier of -2, which is enough to get a clue. So first one's down. I need to go. Well, Dexter gets a resource and upkeep from Longbolt, or not upkeep, sorry. I keep wanting to call it upkeep because in some other games that's what it's called, but that's not what this is. Okay, draw with Arcane shit. Let's see. This is not a spell, this is not a spell. Guess we're taking on the Clairvoyance. Alright, let's see what we can do here. I think a good strategy is going to be to try to get... Actually, hold on, this is a willpower test, isn't it? So we could watch this on this. That seems pretty good. Okay. First action is going to be to try to clear Bedeviled. Note that while we cannot trigger action abilities on cards we control, we don't control Bedeviled, it is in our threat area. We're going to put in 3 resources into Watch This. Watch This says, if we succeed by 1 or more, we get double that many resources. It does have a willpower icon, that's pretty nice. 6 versus 3. Feeling pretty confident here. Maybe a bit too confident, but you know, there you are. No, it's the skull, which is just a -1. So we succeed, this gets cleared, we get 6 resources. That's pretty good. For our next trick, we're going to spend 4 resources to put Clairvoyance into play. I'll need to give this a couple of tokens manually. And our last action is going to be Investigate with Clairvoyance. We can spend a charge to investigate, and if we reveal a Elder Sign +1 or 0 token, we take 1 horror. Okay. We reveal a Tablet token, which is a -1. If we fail, we have to draw a Treachery. We do not fail, we find 2 clues. Pretty good. Well, let's go to upkeep. My tabletop simulator seems to be having a slight amount of lag. But that's okay. Oh, Dexter, watch this. Oh no, we drew an overzealous. So we have to draw probably 2 encounter cards. Normally not a big fan. Oh, that's an Ancient Evils. Well, we discarded our Board of Protection, which we now regret. So we have Ancient Evils with Surge. And then we have Centuries of Secrets. Okay. Test willpower 5. For each point we fail by, we discard top card in counter deck. If we hit a curse, we have to take a direct damage on our investigator and every ally. Well, we don't have any allies, so I'm not gonna bother boosting on this one. Oh, and we draw the -3. Okay, so we fail by 2. No, that's not too bad. Just gonna do it like this. That's a curse. That's a terror, so we take a single direct damage. Normally I'm almost to the point where I'm not playing Overzealous because I think it's too punishing as a basic weakness. But because we don't know Jacqueline's signature weakness, I decided to go a little bit on the harsher side. It was fine. Okay. Right, we're going to Mythos phase. Yeah, so that Doom Clock's going a bit fast now. Rotting Remains. That's perfectly fine by me. I'm going to... I mean, I feel like if it worked once. So the problem here is that I really would like to watch this on this test as well, but I'm kind of risking the odds here because I'm only at a 5 willpower, which only, but Watch This does need me to succeed by 1, so I can only draw -2 or better. If I had the Holy Rosary in play, I feel a little bit more comfortable. So I think I'm going to just take this test and hope I succeed. Okay, so I would have been fine, but, you know, If Arkham's nothing but if not punishing greediness. And we have an evil past. Okay. When the encounter tech runs out of cards, we take 2 horror and test willpower 3, and if we succeed, we discard it. This one's less of a problem in 2-player than in like 3 or 4-player, because the amount of times the deck is going to be cycling through is very limited. All right, pause dramatically for drinking. I think I'm gonna go Dexter, because the location here is gonna spawn an enemy, but we've got this razor. I kind of feel like I could just clear this location and go. So we're gonna get a resource from Lone Wolf. We're gonna use Arcane Initiate, find ourselves a more protection. Thank you very much. We're going to play a Rosary. I haven't used his ability yet, and I'm kind of not like, I don't feel like I should have, right? Like Lone Wolf is too efficient right now. Arcane Initiate is still too useful. Maybe if this Rosary takes some horror or something, or like obviously when the spell runs out, it charges, right? So for my second action, I'm going to Clairvoyance. It's one of the best things about the spells, because it doesn't end your turn. You can just use it whenever, right? The big contrast with what's the other card called? Renaissance King. 0. That does mean we take a horror. Okay, that's acceptable. We find 2 clues, which then triggers in this location. We have to discard cards from top of the encounter deck until an enemy spawns, we have to spawn that enemy. Well, too far. We have found a Coven Initiate. Revelation, discard top 2 cards of the encounter deck. This effect causes the encounter deck to run out of cards. Draw the topmost hex card in the encounter discard pile. Pretty sure that still works. Okay. Not quite sure if revelation effects are supposed to trigger if you're not drawing the card. I think they do. Anyway, this spawns here and then immediately engages us. She's not too bad. She does 1 horror, but sadly she's also going to die. So, you know. We're going to use Spectral Razor. Now, Spectral Razor is still a combat test, so I can't chuck in willpower icons, but luckily, watch this, also has a combat test icon, so we're just going to be throwing that in there. And succeed. So she's gone, we get 6 resources, and that's Dexter done. Next up, Jacqueline. We have 2 cards in hand, because we drew Overzealous, so we can just keep investigating here. Yeah, I see very little reason not to. We don't have resources to play Arbiter yet, and we don't really want to go here, so sure. Investigate. Let's actually use her ability, and let's also see if we can guess our Crystalline Pendulum. So preferably we would find a -1. So given that our willpower is 6, -1, so we will name 3 as our number. 1, 2, 3. Okay, well we don't get to pick whatever once, or we don't get a special token. We do get to find this -1, which is good enough for us to draw a card. Oh, we're doomed. Doom approaches, I suppose. We take 1 horror. And we find this clue. So far, draw has not been spectacular. So we've got a couple of options here. I feel like the most prudent thing to do is to get this Arbiter of Fates in play, because it's a really good card. So I'm going to spend my second action to get a resource. Third action, put the Arbiter into play. I guess that's a talent. It's not a, we're not putting somebody or something into play. Anyway, this is the completely wrong slot. It's supposed to be here. Let's go to upkeep. I'm going to be advancing this turn, but I wanted to. Oh, that's bad. Okay, so this reads: put it into play in your threat area. We cannot put assets into play, but we can spend 2 actions to discard it. That's pretty bad. So maybe we don't advance? Nah, I think we do. Not too scared. Famous last words. Advance into deeper into the woods. As the rain lets up, a dense fog rolls in throughout the area. Soon all of the woods have vanished within the hazy fog. You call out for your companions, but none answer. You grope blindly in the haze, searching for something, anything, to which you can cling. Each investigator must randomly choose one of the set-aside Arkham Woods location, put it into play in front of him or her, and immediately move to that location. Cannot be cancelled. And then each investigator spawns a goat spawn at his or her location, which is bad. So we get some Arkham Woods. One Arkham Woods 1, 2 Arkham Woods 2. We immediately move there and thus also reveal it. We have the Arkham Woods Unhallowed Ground. After we enter this location, we have to take a test. Test willpower 4. If we fail, we take a damage and a horror. Well, let's give it a go. We do not fail. It's only -1. And, the Quiet Glade. We can heal a damage and a horror for an action, but limit once per turn. It would be a nice picnic spot if it wasn't for all the monsters. So there's 2 clues that spawned in that definitely aren't supposed to be there. This is an empty location. We have to spawn the goat spawns. Then our investigators who we can test willpower, or let's see, it should be this one. Some goat spawns. We basically get a free chance to automatically evade these enemies. Then, and this is a rule I've forgotten a couple of times, we have to shuffle the copies of Demonic Piping. Like, I'm gonna do that right now because otherwise I'm probably going to forget. So we have 1 copy of Demonic Piping going into the encounter deck and the other 2 copies into the encounter discard pile. And then what the Demonic Pipings do is that if you draw all 3 of them, we spawn the Piper of Azathoth, which is bad. So we're gonna try to avoid that happening. Anyway, we have to take this willpower test. Willpower of 3, and if we succeed, we basically evade this guy. Success. And also success. Okay, that's going quite well so far. Then we go to Mythos phase. This has now been completely resolved. Oh, I should read the new act, sorry. Witch hauntings. Whatever arcane rites are being practiced in these woods, they are attracting the attention of all manner of vile beasts, the likes of which you have never seen. Is this what the soothsayer was trying to warn you about? Same text about location being connected, and we can spend the requisite number of clues as a single investigator to advance. So this is 2 clues, which we do have, so we could immediately advance. I'm going to resolve the Mythos phase first. I believe actually I'm not allowed to, because I believe I have to advance during a player's turn. 2 on the agenda. Encounter cards. There's a Demonic Piping. So Demonic Piping is put into play next to the agenda deck. If there are 3 copies in play, we spawn the Piper of Azathoth. And it also searches. I could cancel the Revelation effect, in which case it doesn't get put into play, but really would prefer to save that for something a little nastier. Oh, well, speaking of something nasty, this is the Priestess of the Coven. She's a 2 fight, 3 evade, or sorry, 3 health, 2 evade, retaliate witch. But she gets +1 fight and +1 evade for each witch enemy in the discard pile, which I believe right now are 2. And when the encounter deck runs out of card, she readies and attacks everybody at her location. She hits for 2 damage, so that's a nasty whopper. And there are indeed 2 Coven initiates in the discard pile. Going remains. Hopefully this will be less bad. This was less bad. Alrighty. So Dexter's got some problems, but he's also got 2 clues. So I think we're just going to advance immediately. Advance. Strange melodies. As you scour the woods for answers, or a path that will lead you back home, you find yourselves drawn off the beaten trail by a mesmerizing melody of silvery pipes. Deeper into the damp, hazy woodlands you delve, searching for the source of the strange music. Finally, you come upon a foggy clearing, at the center of which lies a half-rotten tree stump. An old but delicately carved wooden flute lies atop the stump, silently beseeching you to approach. The moment you touch the instrument, the piping melody that lured you here is cut short. The dense fog around you disperses with a sudden breeze. For the remainder of the scenario, investigators may now enter locations in front of other investigators. Hey, we're no longer separated. With the pass into the twilight, 6 clues. With the strange fogs dispersed, you are now able to explore the woods. You're unable to find the main path that leads back to Uptown, but this is your chance to discover more about the ritual the witches are conducting. Locations in front of you are connected to one another. Okay, so at least now Jacqueline can run over and hopefully help, since Dexter can't put anything into play and the priestess is a little bit of a problem. Well, first up, I think we're gonna start with Dexter though, because we do have this deny existence is the thing, right? We could cancel one of her attacks. Now, problematically, we need to find something to deal her damage if we are to fight her off. But we'll start by getting a resource from Lone Wolf. Or did I already do that? No, I don't think I did. Okay, then we're going to Arcane Initiate. Please be Spectral Razor, please be Spectral... Oh, whiff. Nothing. Okay, that makes this all a bit more tricky. Okay, well, we still have options. Say what you want about me, but I have options. Evading here seems difficult, but we do have some trickeries we could do. So first and second action are going to be devoted to clearing Taroth, which provokes an attack opportunity, which I will cancel with Deny Existence. So just going to cancel the damage and discard this. Then I'm going to activate Dexter's ability to discard an asset I control, in this case Arcane Initiate, and put Ace of Rods into play from my hand. Now notably this does not provoke the opportunities because I'm not spending an action to play the Ace of Rods. Then I'm going to remove Ace of Rods from the game to take an extra action during which I get +2 to my skills. And I'm going to try to evade the priestess, which I just realized she also gets +2 evade. I thought she only got +5. This plan was probably a lot better when it was just +2 evade. Okay, well, we're still going to try it. So we have 4 evade versus her 4 evade. There's so many -1s in the bag. We're just going to throw in this word of protection. And we draw 0. Of course we do. Well, at least we've evaded the priestess, and we have 1 action left because of the ability on the 8 of Rods. We're going to quickly try to run for one of these other Witch Haunted Woods, which is going to be this one. We have found the Witch Haunted Woods Cairnstones, 3 shrouds, 4 clues, forced the fact that after we find clues here, we have to lose that many resources. We have a lot of resources, so we don't necessarily want to lose said resources, but this isn't too bad. Did I pay for... Yes, I did. Okay, well that's Dexter done. Over to Jacqueline. Now Jacqueline doesn't have any combat spells. Also, did I take this test? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. I tested for the God Spawn, but I didn't test it for this thing, I believe. Luckily, it's fine. Jacqueline sadly doesn't have any combat spells yet. So we're gonna have to find some way of either drawing cards or otherwise helping out. It's also worth noting that this ability is for each investigator, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to try to kind of form up, join together. I could run from the Arkham Woods to here, notably this Arkham Woods and this Arkham Woods aren't connected. But I could run from here to the Witch Haunted Woods, just so we have all the locations seen. Let's start there. Sure. Move. It is the Abandoned Mine. We cannot investigate the location while we have between 3 and 10 resources. Choose an investigator at a different Witch Haunted Woods. We can move up to 3 resources between our resource pools. This is actually pretty good. I'm going to activate this ability to move 2 resources from Dexter's pool to my pool. He's got money enough. Actually, let's make that 3 resources. Just because the location where Dexter is, he wants to have no resources so he can investigate without losing anything. This way they're not lost. I'm going to play the Scrying Mirror as my second action. So the Scrying Mirror gets Forged Secrets, and we basically get to resolve the Reveal Chaos Token step before we do the actual test. Yeah, we do have to exhaust. Then we of course have to pay 3. Well, we have 1 action left. We are going to be investigating here with the Sixth Sense. And we're going to activate Scrying Mirror, use a charge, and then we're then going to activate Jacqueline's ability. We are also going to activate Crystal Pendulum. We get to trigger the mirror first. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's pretty good. It's actually not a special token, which I'm still hoping for. So we'll pick this +1, which will put us at a 5, 6, 7. So we will pick the number 5 and exhaust Crystal Pendulum. And guess what? We revealed this +1. So we get a clue. And we get to draw a card with the Pendulum. It's a deny existence. Okay. Well, upkeep. All these enemies ready. Luckily, the priestess actually doesn't have retaliate, so we can probably leave her there. Sorry, he does have retaliate. She doesn't have hunter, is what I meant. No, it's the tower. Okay. Just gonna leave that one there and weep in sorrow. I mean, I've already seen most of my skill cards. I would have liked to draw a combat spell at some point, people. Okay. The Arcane initiative is gone, but this Doom Clock is still ticking on. Ever forward, never learning. Wrecked. -1 to all our skills during the first test each round. And then we have Bedeviled. Cannot trigger action abilities. That one's way more annoying. Alrighty then, what are we going to do? Well, we have a couple of things that we want to do, I think. One of which involves moving most of the money Dexter has to Jacqueline, just so we can investigate here. I would also really like to get Jacqueline and Dexter to the same location, so I can show off what it's like to have Jacqueline trigger her ability on Dexter. And I would also like to draw a combat spell, because there's 2 hunters that are at connecting locations, so it's gonna get messy. Let's have Jacqueline go first and investigate here. We have 2 resources, so we're fine on that front. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna get the C3 tokens before we start the test. Pick this 0, name name 4, succeed, draw a card, and get a clue. Okay, so we found Missive Relier. That's not a bad one. It's not a good one either, but you know, at the very least, lets us evade. Sorry, if you haven't seen this one, it's from Forgotten Age. It is essentially the evasion equivalent of Rite of Seeking and Shriveling. So if we reveal special tokens, we have to discard a card from our hand, but we can evade with willpower instead of agility, and if we succeed, we also get to move for free. And I also just realized we totally couldn't have done that because we're bedeviled. So let's back that up, or let's not back that up, but let's just second action clear bedeviled. We can reveal 3 tokens again, so we're probably fine. Yep, we'll pick the 0. Yeah, sometimes you just have to kind of do it a little bit just so you're not spending ages backing up. Last action, let's play this Mr. Relay. And then it's over to Dexter. Okay, well, he gets -1 to his stats. He also gets a resource from Lone Wolf. So if I investigate here, I lose 2 clues, or lose 2 resources. But that still puts me at 3 resources, and I can then replace this clairvoyance with a new clairvoyance. Doesn't even seem that bad. So our first action is going to be clairvoyance. Investigate. We get a -1, but that's not going to matter. Actually, that does matter, because when we reveal a +1, we take a horror. So far, it hasn't mattered too much, because the other one went on the Arcane initiate, but it might end up mattering. We get 2 clues. And we lose 2 resources because of the forced effect on the stone cairn stones. Okay. Then we're going to activate Dexter's ability. Oh, wait, what I wanted to do doesn't work, because we can only switch out assets with different titles. Glad I noticed that. However, we still get to do something, which is we're going to spend, or non-action, we're going to activate this ability, and we're going to discard this clairvoyance and put the tower into play, because the tower is still an asset. And it doesn't say anything about non-weakness. And you might think, well, why do you want that? Well, obviously, once the tower's out of your hand, because the tower only does something in your hand, you can't commit skill cards while it's in your hand. But also, it is now an asset, so we can start discarding it for Dexter's ability, which is pretty good. Of course, we're now broke, so that's not an option. But hey, one thing at a time. Let's try to get rid of this Racked. Ooh, that's a -4. Yeah, no, that's one too many. I think I'm gonna give that another go. 2 -4s in a row. I guess we're still wrecked. Enemy phase. Both of these guys are going to come to one of the... So they could both come to the same investigator, but I feel like... no, actually, they are both going to go after... they don't have any prey, so they're both going to go after Jacqueline, since she at the very least has the mists ready. And she's just going to take 2 damage. This one also has an ability that when they die, everybody thinks of horror, but so be it. She doesn't hunt her, so let's go to the upkeep phase. For anybody wondering, yes, I can of course deny those attacks, but I don't think it's worth it for 1 damage. Ooh la la, we found Ether Flame, the new Shriveling, just like the Clairvoyance is the new Rider Seeking. 4 charges, fight with +1 damage. If you reveal a Elder Sign +1 or 0 token, you take a damage. 5 out of 8 Doom. Wait, 5? 6, sorry. Ancient Evils. 7 out of 8 Doom. Whoa. Gotta hurry up here. Frozen in Fear. That's not great if you're engaged with 2 enemies. So just quickly checking, there are 9 cards left in the encounter deck. So they're starting to look a little hectic. We have 4 out of the required 6 clues though, so we could try and hurry this along. Trying to figure out how to best do this. I think I'm going to start. My goal is going to be to try to move these guys off of me, kind of spread them out maybe a bit. Yeah, so my first 2 actions, which is really annoying, are going to be spend evade this guy. Now I can deny existence the action, but I don't know if that's necessarily worth it. Of course, if this means I die, then it will have been worth it. Okay, we're going to use her ability. We're not going to use the mirror, I think, because we want to kind of save that one for later. We're going to be using Mr. Relay to evade. We have 6 willpower versus evasion 2. I'm going to wager we're probably going to find at least 1 -1, so I'll name 3 as my token with the Crystal and Pendulum. Well, we did find a number of -1s. Suddenly they're all skulls and cultist tokens. So now I have to make a decision, right? I can either cancel these, but then I'm not drawing a card with Pendulum. Or I can cancel this one. Sorry, I can cancel this one and either one of those really. In which case I have to draw a card, but I also have to discard a card with Mr. Villiers. I think I kind of like the cards in my hand, so I'm just going to pick this -3 because we still make it. Evade the goat spawn, and we get a free move out of it. Now, looking at it, this also forces you to discard cards. Really hope to draw special tokens with the Sixth Sense because we can bypass these abilities. But we'll move from here to... we're actually not connected to this Arkham Woods either. Worth pointing that out. He says. So the reason why I'm thinking here, sorry, I should talk through my thought process, is I want to use Drawn to the Flame to clear 1 more of these locations and basically have the required clues. Now the thing that I don't want is this goat spawn to come over and murder Dexter already and start murdering Dexter, so I'm kind of torn between where I should go, and I think I'm going to go to this location. These are connected. Yeah, that seems better. And then for my next action, I'm just going to Mr. Relay again. I still have my ability, so I'm going to use it again. I will cancel the autofail, so that leaves me with -3 and +1. So net result -2. Excellent, this thing is related. Give me another move, and I will move into the Arcane Woods. I get 3 moves from the Mr. Relay. That does mean I have to take another test. Test willpower. I'm fine. And then I have to test for Frozen and Fear. I would like to use the... do I need the mirror on this one? No, I don't. Let's just hope we get it. We get it! Okay, no more Frozen and Fear. Make sure this is over here and this is over here. Okay, now Mapel Dexter. We gotta get you out of here. We also gotta clear this racked. Let's start by gaining 1 resource and then using Dexter's ability to discard the tower and put Clairvoyance number 2 into play. So now we've got another spell. Because we have no resources, we can safely investigate here. We make it. We do have to take a horror. Okay, so now we at least have the requisite number of clues to advance. Excellent. I don't think I'm advancing right now because the situation is a bit too hectic for that, but I'm going to try to clear this wrecked and clear it. Alright, well, upkeep. So, taking a moment to, I think, pause. Let's do upkeep while I'm thinking, or while I'm talking. I think the decks are both performing fairly adequately. I had expected Jacqueline to get more value out of the Sixth Sense by now because her ability to reveal multiple tokens feels like it's tailor-made to trigger these kinds of effects, but unfortunately haven't quite been hitting them. On the other hand, Dexter's been doing pretty well. He's been putting lots of assets into play. I actually just drew a Sign Magic, which let him have another Arcane slot if he needs it. Doesn't have the money for that now, but maybe later. And so we advance. Oh, we get to advance, actually. Oh boy. The rite commences. The moon reaches the height of its arc in the night sky. The trees begin to shift and twist in the breeze, as though made of something other than solid matter. Dozens of birds suddenly scatter from every treetop. In the distance, you can hear a faint melody, the pitch bending in the wind. A cloaked figure emerges from the darkness beyond the brush, a vortex of magical energy coalescing at her feet. Are you the ones who've been meddling with your works? She wonders aloud, gazing at you suspiciously from underneath her thick hood. It is no matter. You are not welcome here, she threatens. Be gone, or face the consequences. Discard all but the last 5 cards from the encounter deck. The investigator with the most cards in his or her play area must draw the topmost witch enemy in the encounter discard pile. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We hit all Diabolic Voices. These cards are horrible, by the way. This can just wipe out your hand if you draw it on an unlucky time, and we had all 3 of them right behind each other, which is awesome. And then we have to find the topmost witch enemy, which is a Covenant Initiate. Now we have to figure out who has the most cards in their play area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's definitely Jacqueline. We have to discard 2 more cards. Whoa, we're almost empty. Okay, and now our new agenda. The night howls. As midnight draws nearer, the forest begins to take on another form. A canopy of darkness overtakes the stars. The wind picks up in intensity, its whistling echoing through the trees. A dangerous power gathers deep within the woods, drawing only the foul and the foolish. Which one are we? Forest. At the end of the rounds, place 1 doom on this agenda for each witch enemy at the witch's circle. 12 doom. Well, we don't have a witch's circle yet. We might find one later. But we have some encounter cards we need to draw first. Okay, guess it's gonna be like that. And another Covenant Initiate. Oh no! We actually have to mill out of the deck, which means that we trigger a special effect. Discard top 2 cards of the encounter deck. If this effect causes the encounter deck to run out of cards, draw the topmost hex card from the encounter discard pile. This is not a hex. This is not a hex. No, 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 no. This is X. We are now wrecked as well. So that's pretty bad. We've got the encounter deck also just run out of cards, so we have to take 2 hover. I'm gonna be honest with you, friends, I don't know if we're gonna make this one. Test willpower 3. Make it. Okay. Technically that would have been... get -1 on that, but that's still easily made it. So we've got bad guys all over the place. And we are slightly lacking in ways to murder said bad guys. So I'm somewhat hesitant to advance here. Because I would really prefer to have ways of murder at the ready when we go to advance. So instead I'll let Dexter go first, he'll gain a resource, and I'm just gonna start drawing cards. No. That's pretty good. This is Molly Maxwell, the exotic Morgana, who is Dexter's signature replacement. And you can exhaust her, deal her 1 horror, and name a trait. One at a time we reveal cards until we hit the named trait. We draw that asset. We have to reveal a asset with a named trait. We find an asset with a named trait, we draw that asset, we shuffle each revealed card back into our deck. We do have the money to play her if we discard something else. We do have this rosary we're not really using at the moment. Sure, we're going to use Dexter's ability, discarding this rosary. Put Max into play. Molly, I guess we put Molly into play, that's a better name. Immediately use her, and we will name Spell. So let's start flipping cards. Nope. No, so that is a spell, but it's not an asset. That is a spell asset. It's exactly what we don't want. Thanks, Molly, but I hate it. So problematically, obviously, this is not a combat spell. It's rather seeking more clues, which is what we don't want. My hope was gonna be. Well, my hope was. My hope was terribly taken away from me. We're gonna draw a card. It's another water protection. Or it's a water protection. Okay. Let's see. Jacqueline, you doing okay? I mean, she might actually not be doing awful. The main problem she has is that she wants to play. So she has a shriveling equivalent, which is every flame. But we need to get rid of these covenant shits. We need money. Yeah, things are still a bit tricky. Gonna use Scrying Mirror and try to evade Covenant Initiate with this Mistress Relay. Activate her ability, use Arbiter so it doesn't count. Oh boy. Okay, we'll pick 0, -3, which means we do succeed. We succeed specifically -3, so we succeed at 1. So exhaust Pendulum, name 1, draw a card. Now, for those of you might have realized, so the way Pendulum works is it's after skill test education begins. So we normally have to do that before we see the Chaos token, but because the Scrying Mirror is also a reaction to skill test beginning, we can stack them in whatever order we want. We let the Scrying Mirror go first, then we do the Pendulum, which means we know what token we're drawing. And we're very happy about it. We've drawn a Dark Prophecy, which is something we're less happy about. But we still evade this witch and then move somewhere. We have to actually figure out where to move. I think we're gonna... Yeah, so this is again, right, there are goat spawns everywhere. And I don't want to have all the enemies kind of clump up, but I think they're going to anyway. Although it does remind me, the witches also don't have Hunter. So, yeah, I'm just going to move here. Seems fine. We can also potentially discard a card to let Dexter draw a card or vice versa, which we might actually do, because I don't think we need most of these cards. I also just realized we misnamed on... Oh no, we already did a test in Missiles Phase, right? Or something happened, I don't remember. The important thing is that this doesn't matter, because even if we would have failed or would have had a -1 on the last test, we just have named 0 instead of -1 and we'd still be fine. We're going to try to evade this witch. Succeed. And we're going to move over on to Dexter Town. Before we do that, let's discard a card here to draw a card. It's slightly out of sequence, my apologies. Discard Dark Prophecy. Nah.
So it's either Dark Prophecy or Azure Flame. The thing is that I don't think I need 2 Azure Flames because I can't afford 2 of them anyway. So I'm just going to make Dexter draw a card. Excellent, excellent. That's a Shriveling. Now that's a Shriveling. Move here. Last action, let's get a resource real quick. Excellent, okay. Enemy phase, things are going to get a little dicey. Because we've got 2 goat spawns that both have Hunter. I think I gotta get them on Dexter because Jacqueline is a bit hurt. Also, it sets up potential shenanigans with his ability. So yeah, we're just gonna move both of them onto Dexter. And they're both gonna deal him a damage. One on him and one on Molly. Actually, no, not one on Molly because there's that card in the encounter deck that does direct damage to allies, and I don't want that happening to Molly. Alrighty. Oh, you ever been so happy by an upkeep draw? That's Engage the Soul, people. Let's do it. Oh! And I guess we're gonna keep being pretty happy with our draws here. Alright, Mythos phase. We shuffle the encounter deck. Which also means now that the other 2 demonic pipings are now in the deck. Ooh, that's bad. Although we do have, hold on, we have water protection. This is fine. Yeah, if we ward here, we can still, no. We can still use Engage the Soul to put a Shriveling in, so we're fine on that regard. Let's just get this thing out of here. Normally I wouldn't do that, but I know I'm going to be fighting, and I feel like if I mess up here, I might end up losing a lot, so I would like to have the room for error. Okay, test willpower 3. For each point we fill by discard a random card. Now we do get -1 on this because of Wrecked. Feel like what I'm going to do is use the mirror here to draw an extra card with Pendulum. So yeah, I'll just use the mirror. I won't activate my ability. Just see what I'm going to draw. I'm drawing a skull, so that would end up at 6 -1 -2 is 4. There are no other diabolic voices in the script block because it just got shuffled, so I'll name 1, draw card, and pass this test. Excellent. Here's Olive, who might be interesting, but at the moment not exactly a good idea. So yeah, so I think my plan was going to be to play Azure Flame, but we drew this Razor, and I don't think there's any world in which we're not just razoring this this Godsman to death. That is going to deal more horror. It's starting to tick up a bit, but not like we have a lot of other good options. So yeah, Spectral Razor, which I guess I realize I've been playing with this card a lot because it's really good, but if you're new, you might have not seen this. It's a fight. We add our willpower to our combat, and then we can engage an enemy immediately, which is important because you can always attack enemies that aren't engaged with you, but if you do and you miss, you hurt the other investigator. So we're going to use Jacqueline's ability to reveal 3 tokens, and we're going to be attacking at a whopping 8 versus 3. So we can't fail, because even if we reveal the auto fail, we can cancel it and then pick the other 2 tokens. I guess in that case we could fail, because we could reveal 2 tokens with a combined modifier big enough. But we succeed. Kill this guy. That does mean we both take a horror, which is starting to add up a bit. Same on Dexter, but he's also got Molly, which can soak a bit of horror if need be. Okay, so that was a good start. Tempted to drop the Olive, but I need... maybe I don't need Azure Flame, because these 2 aren't going to hunt. She also doesn't hunt, so the only enemy left is the Goat Spawn, which I'm hoping Dexter can kill this turn. So instead, what I'm going to do is spend my second action to put her into play, Olive of Prey, which you can exhaust her to reveal 3 tokens instead of 1. But then you have to resolve 2 tokens instead of 1, or instead of the normal one. So you have usually a slightly higher chance of a higher or lower modifier, but you end up with more chances of special tokens and stuff like that, which is really good for 6 cents. And next action, I'm just going to engage the Goat Spawn. You can always do this. You can just take the engagement from somebody else, which means that Dexter doesn't have to take the deck opportunity to play his Shriveling. So over on Dexter's side, we don't have any money, but we don't need money. We can just engage for Shriveling. get the old 4 charges. Now, importantly, we've also only used Jacqueline's ability once. We've used it with the Arbiter, but it can be done by any investigator, or when any investigator does a test, or reveals tokens in general. So we can still do this. So for our next attack, we're just going to use Jacqueline's ability. Reveal extra tokens. Since we do hit on the whole -2, we're just going to pick that -2. Yeah, okay. Which avoids us having to take 1 point of horror from Chekalin. Then, going to... well, we have 1 action left. Yeah, we're just going to attack again. I'm going to throw in Shine Magic. Trying to figure out if I want to throw in anything else. I don't think I'm going to play the other Shine Magic, and I think it does matter often enough. Oh no, that misses, doesn't it? Thinking real quick. Yeah, because this is... no, wait, hold on. 5, 6, 7, 3. No, we hit. There was a moment of despair, and then, oh wait, I can actually do math. So we both take another horror. Luckily, we got some allies in play that can soak that stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry, Molly, I'm actually going to put the horror in you. And then before turn ends, I am going to give her another horror to name a token, or name a card. I am going to name Dreamer. Yes. Oh, well, found immediately. This is Gregory Gry. If you haven't played with 3 meters yet, you might not have recognized him. He's a new rogue ally. He spawns with 9 resources, and whenever you do skill test, you can spend that many resources off of him. If you succeed by that many or more, you get that many resources. So he's an economy engine, which is why he's in this deck. Because I'm expecting that when Molly dies, which probably won't be too long, I can play Gregory and then use him to get more money, and then use that money to play more assets. And you can see how the deck is supposed to function, right? Right now it's been going a little... it's been having some issues, but in general you can hopefully see how this deck is supposed to play. That's completely useless. And that is not. Okay. Yeah. Mythos. Centuries of Secrets. Okay, this is probably fine, because Molly was dying anyway. We don't care too much about the damage. Ooh, that is somewhat unfortunate, because if we fail, we have to draw the bottommost treachery in the encounter discard pile. And this is a test 5. We didn't commit anything. We don't have a rosary in play anymore, so we are having to draw the bottommost treachery, which is a Frozen in Fear. Okay, so we're Frozen in Fear. We also have to discard 1 card. And if it is a curse, it is not. It is the piping. Okay, that's pretty lucky. We did end up drawing, quote unquote, a Frozen in Fear, but we also got rid of a demonic piping in the deck, which means that now, unless we go through the deck again, we won't summon the Piper of Azathoth. And Diabolic Voices. I believe this is the second Diabolic Voices. So this is a difficulty 4 test. However, I'm also holding 2 denied existences, so I'm not too worried. -1. I get -1 from Wrecked, so I actually use Pause. Get Wrecked. Okay, well, let's advance, shall we? Spending the requisite 6 clues. We find the Witch's Circle. What a surprise that that would be a location. Sorry, this is Tabletop Simulator at its finest. Revelation. Or sorry, 3 Shroud, 6 clue location. Revelation. Put the Witch's Circle into play in the center of the play area in front of none of the investigators. The lead investigator spawns to set aside Annetta Mason at the Witch's Circle. Forced. After the enemy phase begins, move each ready, unengaged witch enemy once towards the Witch's Circle. And we already know that, oh, we now have to move it back. At the end of the round, we have to place a doom on the Witch's Circle or we have to put a doom on the agenda for every witch at the Witch's Circle. So all the witches are going to go moving to the Witch's Circle. So this is going to go poorly. We've also spawned Annetta Mason, who is a bit of a angry lady. Annetta Mason, the High Priestess, 4 combat, 8 health, 4 evade, humanoid witch and elite traded, retaliate. Forced. After the enemy phase begins, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. Spawn each witch enemy discarded by this effect at Annetta Mason's location. If no witches are discarded, ready her. 2 victory points. combat and deals 1 damage and 1 horror. Come, sisters, our time is now. So the way she works is often she's not going to ready. She's going to just often she's not going to spawn any witches. She's going to ready. If she does spawn witches, it's pretty bad. However, we have now our circle unbroken. You come across a clearing where a ritual circle has been constructed. Several hooded figures stand around it in a trance, unaware of your presence. Overlooking the ritual is a powerfully built woman who brandishes a long wavy dagger as she sees you approach. Leave this place at once, she commands. And our objectives are, if she's defeated, we advance, and if there are no clues on the circle, we advance. I think the latter is going to be my approach, because while Anatomation is pretty nasty boss enemy, she doesn't actually have massive, and I've got some funny tricks that let me kind of shenanigans my way into a bunch of clues here. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is, I'm figuring out options, and I'm going to investigate the current location with Sixth Sense. I'm going to activate first I'm going to activate Jacqueline's ability. So I reveal 2 additional tokens. I'm however going to replace the first of those with Olive McBride. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to reveal 3 tokens and choose 2 of those to resolve. I will choose +1, 0. Then I reveal the other 2 tokens from Jacqueline and choose either these 3 tokens or one of these, right? We treat the 3 tokens from Olive as 1 token. I should also mention I'm obviously using Arbiter to make sure this doesn't count. So I'm going to pick the skull because that's the one I actually wanted. So now, because we found a special token, we can choose a connected location and we can investigate as if we were there instead of where we are. So this is connected, trust me. So we are now investigating here and we pick up a clue here. Remote clue acquisition acquired. Excellent. I'm going to do that again. I am not going to use my ability, but I'm instead going to use Dark Prophecy. So Dark Prophecy lets me reveal 5 tokens, but I have to reveal a special token unless none is revealed. None are revealed, sorry. Grammar. Okay, I will pick the skull. Now notably, the Elder Sign was among the tokens that we ignored. When a Elder Sign is ignored or cancelled, we draw a card. Awesome. Better Defiance. So we get another clue from here. And then for our last action, we're just going to move in and have an attack engage us. She can punch us, it's fine. We've got some denies ready. Dexter gets a resource from Lone Wolf. He's just, he needs to grab clues. So first 2 actions, unfortunately, are going to be frozen and feared. Move into the circle. We still have 1 activation of Jacqueline left, so we're just going to spend our last action to investigate with Clairvoyance. And we're going to reveal 3 tokens with the Jacqueline ability. Ooh. Well, that's very exciting. Yeah, we're grabbing that other sign. So we may return a asset from our play area and then draw a card. Well, I would like to reset Molly. She's taken a bunch of horror. So yeah, we're gonna bring Molly back to her hand and then draw a card. Oh, there's one to the flame. We also obviously find 2 clues. We were using, however, Clairvoyance, which means we have to take horror. Ooh, that's actually starting to get it there. Then at the end of the turn, we have to test. Actually, no, wait. Before the end of the turn, we're going to discard Lone Wolf with our ability to put Molly into play for 2. The reason why I'm doing that is all the witches are going to swarm the circle in a minute because of the text on the. Because of the text on the. No, it's on the witch circle. And most of them do horror damage, so I want to have a horror soak in the form of Molly in case I need to absorb a couple of blows. Test for Frozen and Fear. Yep, just gonna try that. -3, we fail. That's annoying. Alright, so this is at the start of after the enemy phase begins. And this is also same time. Let's start by doing this. So we discard the top 3 cards. If we discard any witches, we have to spawn those. Otherwise, nothing happens. Nothing happens. All of the unengaged witches. This one actually is connected? No, it's not connected. So this one's going to move to the nearest woods. This one is going to move here and is going to engage either of them. Let's give them to old Dexter. And let's give this one to Jacqueline. Although, wait, this one is also not connected. So this one also moves to one of the woods first. Witch haunted woods. Lots of witches being haunted. Okay, this covenant initiate gonna deal us 1 horror. Onto Molly she goes. This Anatomason is going to punch. 1 damage, 1 horror. Still acceptable. And then we go to... this is at the end of the round. Okay, we go to upkeep first, then end of the round. So draw a card, get a response. Okay, I think the game is trying to tell me something. It's that I should get some clues. I repeat what I just said. Okay, so at the end of the round, for every every witch enemy here, we put a doom on the agenda. There are 2. So double ancient evils and then another doom. So we do have to kind of win this turn. Oh, that's an ancient evils. Things are going quite fast. But though I believe the other 2 ancient evils are in the discard pile, so we're good now. Covenant initiate. Okay, spawn, discards 2 cards. Doesn't do anything else. Yeah, we can just win here, right? We sorry, having to turn this one around every time is kind of annoying, but there's nothing to be done about it. Yeah, so Dexter will go first. First action, play Drawn to the Flame, which provokes an attack of opportunity, but that's okay. We draw an encounter card. Send you the secrets. As long as this doesn't kill us, and I don't believe it can, we win. I will use her ability. Put the 0. We're fine. Get these 2 clues, and I believe we are now allowed to advance. If there are no clues on the Witch's Circle, advance. If you advance by discovering all the clues in the Witch's Circle, a loud crack echoes throughout the woods as you break the circle and reverse the Witch's spell. No, they have broken the ritual, one of the witches screams as their spell's energies backfires. White-hot lightning strikes the center of the field, sending dirt and debris flying in every direction. You duck for cover. Resolution 2. There's the campaign guide. Resolution 2. With the spell broken, the hooded figures turn their attention to you. More of them emerge from the tree line, eager to take vengeance upon you for destroying their plans. Interloper, one of them calls you, pulling off her hood and pointing a gnarled wooden rod in your direction. Her bright red hair glows in the firelight, embers dancing around her extended hands. You will not escape this time, she cries, preparing to strike you down. Stop, the leader of the coven yells in a commanding voice, holding up her hand. The red-haired accuser stops in her tracks, and there's a sudden stillness in the clearing around the circle. But High Priestess, the witch persists. They're the ones from before, the ones who interfered with our great work. The High Priestess places a hand on the red-haired witch's shoulder. As always, I admire your perseverance, sister, but I do not believe these are the ones you speak of, she replies. The red-haired witch lowers her rod, and as the High Priestess approaches you, her arms crossed. She watches you with a hard glare, her gaze never straying far from you. I am Annette, and these are my sisters, she says. Tell me, who are you, and why are you here? You explain how you awoke in the woods, how you were attacked by terrible creatures, and how you came to the center of the circle in order to break the spell surrounding the woods. Annette's eyes narrow as she hears your story. That is impossible. The circle was closed. No one could enter the woods while we were completing our spells. She grits her teeth. You must go at once. This is not your place. But High Priestess, the red-haired witch exclaims, only to be interrupted by Annette's gaze. The two lock eyes, a battle of wills that quickly proves Annette victorious. Stands down, Erin, Annette says with a firm, motherly tone, as though admonishing a child. He turns her attention back to you as the witch named Erin lowers her head in defeat. Go, you've broken the spell just as you desired. You can leave the woods now, but I give you one final warning. Cross us again, and we will not be so merciful. You begin to protest, but before you are able to utter a single word, a dark gill snuffs out the fire at the center of the clearing. Shadows from beyond the tree line suddenly twist and coil into the clearing, tugging at the edges of the witches' cloaks. One by one, the shadows twist and pull each of the witches into the darkness beyond. In moments, they are gone. You are left with only the soft glow of moonlight to guide you home. In the campaign log, record that the witch's spell was broken. When their momentum is discovered, record the mesmerizing flute and scrap of Torn Shadow. Each investigator earns a bonus experience. And then we earn victory X for the locations cleared, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that will be 7 XP. That's pretty good. Okay, let's talk about the decks, right? Because we now scenario completed. We got through pretty well. I mean, we got a little beat up, and I think that's actually pretty exemplary of what Mystics are. To me, Mystics are a asset-based class, right? They're the class that are supposed to have the big setup and the big rewards. They can do anything roughly as good as most of the other class, right? Mystics can investigate just like Seekers can do. They can fight just like Guardians, right? They've got Shriveling, which is kind of like their 45 automatic. They've got Brother Seeking, which is their fingerprint kit. But they need assets. They can't do it on their own, right? A Seeker is probably able to investigate with their intellect. A Guardian might be able to punch. Mystics can't do that. But I do hope I've been able to showcase kind of two very different Mystic styles. As you can see, Dexter has or in this case, the Dexter deck, but more specifically kind of this Clairvoyance Rite of Seeking deck that has the ability to get multiple clues with one action, but really needs those actions to land because each of those charges is pretty expensive. And on the other hand, we have the Sixth Sense kind of investigative approach where you don't have any charges to worry about. You can just spam as often as you want, and you're trying to use these like additional token effects like Olive and like Jacqueline to get special effects and get rewarded. And this might not seem that powerful at the moment, but I am hoping, and this is not a promise, but this is a hope, that my next video will be a leveled up with the same investigators with the same rough decks, just added some XP in. It's probably going to be more than the 7 we just earned, to kind of showcase how crazy, especially Sixth Sense level 4 can be, which, trust me, if you've never seen that before, it's crazy. So yeah, Mystics are cool. Everybody who loves Mystics, or at least most people I think love Mystics, they have weird shenanigans, they got drawing encounter cards, they got cancelling stuff. Yeah, they're a very interesting faction that's also finally coming to a point where they can build in multiple different, like, distinct approaches that are all very interesting and hopefully pretty good. So I really hope you appreciate this video, you like this video. If you have any feedback, go ahead, post it below. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you again until the end of time.